The fields of California, once silent witnesses to exploitation, now echo with the legacy of a movement born from profound injustice. For generations, farm workers toiled under conditions that defied the American dream: meager wages, brutal hours, and exposure to dangerous pesticides, all while lacking basic protections. This wasn't just hard labor, it was a system designed to keep an entire workforce invisible and voiceless. Imagine waking before dawn, working until dusk under a scorching sun, knowing that a single injury or illness could mean destitution for your family. This was the daily reality for hundreds of thousands of men, women, and children who harvested the food that fed a nation, yet often couldn't afford to feed themselves. Their struggle was not merely for better pay, but for recognition of their fundamental humanity, for the right to live and work with dignity. It was into this crucible of despair and quiet resilience that two figures emerged, destined to challenge the very foundations of agricultural power. Their names, Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta. Their mission: to organize the unorganizable, to give voice to the voiceless, and to demand justice where none had existed. The stakes were immense, not just for the farm workers themselves, but for the soul of a nation grappling with its own ideals of equality and fairness. This was a fight for survival, a battle waged not with weapons, but with unwavering resolve and the power of collective action. Before Chavez and Huerta, attempts to unionize farm workers had largely failed, crushed by powerful growers and a system designed to maintain the status quo. The agricultural industry operated with near impunity, relying on a transient, vulnerable workforce that lacked legal protections afforded to other laborers. Workers were often housed in squalid camps, paid by the piece and subjected to arbitrary dismissals. The sheer scale of the industry, coupled with the seasonal nature of the work and the diverse ethnic backgrounds of the workers, primarily Mexican, Filipino, and Arab Americans, made organizing an almost insurmountable challenge. Yet, the seeds of change were being sown. Cesar Chavez, a former community organizer, understood the deep-seated frustrations and the potential for collective power. Dolores Huerta, a former teacher, witnessed firsthand the poverty and suffering of her students' families. Realizing that education alone couldn't solve systemic injustice, their paths converged in the early 1960s, a period of intense social upheaval across America. They shared a radical vision: to build a union from the ground up, not through traditional labor structures, but through a movement rooted in the farm workers' own cultural and spiritual traditions. This was a bold, almost unthinkable proposition, met with immediate and fierce resistance from powerful agricultural interests determined to protect their profits. The tension was palpable, a quiet storm brewing in the fields, threatening to erupt into a full-blown confrontation. The formation of the National Farm Workers Association, later the United Farm Workers, UFW, marked the true beginning of their underdog story. Chavez, with his quiet charisma and strategic brilliance, and Huerta, with her sharp intellect and fearless negotiating skills, formed an unlikely but potent partnership. Their strategy was revolutionary for its time: nonviolent direct action, boycotts, and community organizing. They understood that traditional strikes alone wouldn't work against an industry that could simply bring in scab labor. Instead, they turned to the consumer. The Delano grape strike, beginning in 1965, became their defining moment. Filipino-American farm workers initiated the strike, and Chavez and Huerta quickly joined forces, transforming a local labor dispute into a national civil rights cause. They called for a nationwide boycott of California grapes, a tactic that seemed impossible to sustain. How could a small, underfunded union challenge an entire industry? Yet they did. Huerta traveled tirelessly across the country, speaking to college students, religious groups, and labor organizations, building a coalition of support. Chavez undertook fasts, drawing national attention and moral authority to their cause. The growers, initially dismissive, soon found their profits dwindling as millions of Americans refused to buy grapes. This was the how of their defiance. Not through brute force, but through moral persuasion, economic pressure, and an unwavering belief in the power of ordinary people. The grape boycott became a masterclass in grassroots activism, demonstrating the immense power of an informed and engaged public. Dolores Huerta, often at the forefront of negotiations, faced down powerful corporate lawyers and politicians, her calm demeanor belying an iron will. She was instrumental in crafting contracts, advocating for better wages, health benefits, and protection from pesticides, demands that were once unthinkable. While Chavez became the public face, a symbol of the movement, Huerta was the strategic mind, the tireless organizer and the fierce negotiator who translated their moral victories into tangible gains, she famously coined the rallying cry, "Si se puede," yes we can, a phrase that would later resonate far beyond the farmworker movement. The struggle was far from easy. Strikers faced violence, intimidation, and legal battles. Chavez himself was arrested multiple times, yet each act of repression only seemed to strengthen their resolve and galvanize public support. The movement drew in diverse allies, from students to civil rights leaders, creating a powerful moral force that the agricultural industry could no longer ignore. This segment of their journey underscored the relentless pressure and the personal toll of leading such a movement, but also the profound impact of their unwavering commitment to justice. After 5 long years, the grape boycott finally achieved its goal. In 1970, grape growers signed historic contracts with the UFW, granting farm workers better wages, benefits, and the right to organize. It was a monumental victory, not just for the farm workers, but for the broader civil rights movement, proving that even the most marginalized communities could achieve justice through organized, nonviolent resistance. This triumph paved the way for the California Agricultural Labor Relations Act of 1975, the first law in the United States granting farm workers the right to collectively bargain. Cesar Chavez's legacy is rightly celebrated with Cesar Chavez Day, a testament to his vision and leadership. But it is crucial to remember Dolores Huerta, whose strategic brilliance, tireless advocacy, and unwavering courage were equally indispensable. Her work continued for decades, fighting for women's rights, immigrant rights, and environmental justice. Their combined efforts transformed the lives of countless farm workers, establishing a precedent for fair labor practices and inspiring generations of activists. Their story is a powerful reminder that social change is not a gift, but a hard-won battle requiring persistent effort and an unshakable belief in justice. As we reflect on their contributions, consider how their principles of nonviolence and collective action can still guide us in addressing the injustices of our own time. The fight for dignity, as Huerta and Chavez taught us, is an ongoing journey.